Hi, Mike.
Hey Ray, how's it going?
A lot of boards are getting very concerned about their finances. People don't want to pay their assessments because of the lack of use to amenities, and they're having a lot of financial hardships because of coronavirus. What are you seeing as a financial provider?
Well, a couple things we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of that level of concern, especially after 2008 and how delinquencies and bankruptcies spiked at that period of time. So one of the things that we've suggested is, listen, while your association is in a good position, apply for a line of credit. If you need funds or you think you're going to need funds, have that sitting there because waiting to apply until you have a higher delinquency amount, you're probably not going to qualify for that line of credit. Also, I think it's very important to stay up on your collection policies. Obviously, you can't forgive assessments during this period of time. And I've actually talked to some other individuals who own companies who are actually starting to actively pursue payment plans with people they're hearing from saying, hey, we're having trouble making our assessment payment, getting them on payment plans early to make sure you're getting some of those funds in. I think a combination of those will kind of help people get through this period because we don't know if it's going to be, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 18 months. There's really no timeline with it. So.
What's the paperwork process involved with getting a line of credit? Is it similar to getting a loan?
It's a little less than getting a full-fledged loan. We're still going to need to do some, probably about 50 to 75% underwriting on it. You're going to want to make sure your delinquencies are definitely under 10%. In some instances with some banks, it's probably under 8%. But we're still going to need to look at it, probably about a year's worth of financial information, your governing documents, proof of insurance, those kind of things.
Who helps an association determine how much of a line of credit they should ask for?
Well, honestly, some of the banks have very specific guidelines as far as how much they are willing to offer associations as far as the amount of a line of credit. Most of those are tied to the number of units the association has with a maximum. I've seen a lot of them that are between 25,000 and probably the highest, normal line of credit that I see is probably about 250,000. Sometimes you'll get into large scale communities that have a little bigger need, and in case by case basis there, you might see a $500,000 or $1 million line of credit or emergency lines of credit for storms that are higher. But in this kind of situation, I would say anywhere between 25,000 and 250,000. But a lot of it's going to depend on what are your monthly expenses. What are you worried about? Are you worried about 20% of your owners not paying? Or are you worried about 50% not paying? And you can kind of calculate what you need there. I would look at that over a 3 to 6 month period and say, okay, if 20 to 30% of our people don't pay, how short are we going to be?
Line of credit, can associations just take it in one bulk sum, or is there a process involved where it gets maybe spaced out?
Line of credit's typically treated very similar to a credit card. You could pretty much take it out as you need it. So if you wanted it, let's say you had a $25,000 line of credit, you could take the full amount up front, or you could take it over time as you need it. Most of the time, the minimum payment due is going to be the interest on what you've taken. But then there's usually going to be renewal fees. So if you're keeping that line open year after year, you're going to pay a fee to keep it open. So I would caution folks to take what they need because you are going to pay interest on the full amount you're taking.
Do you have any more advice when it comes to line of credit?
I just think the biggest thing is to act sooner rather than later. If you think this might be a problem for you, reach out to a couple bankers, reach out to somebody and say, hey, what do we need to do for this? Because waiting until it's too late, especially if the demand gets to be high, there's going to be a little less leeway that the banks give people who apply for these types of lines because there's going to be a limited access or a limited amount that we can offer. But I would say sooner rather than later, if you think it's going to be a problem, I would reach out to someone and see what you need to do.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it.